podcast, the only AA meeting with attending. I'm your host, Lake, and with me is my co-host, Tanim. Holy crap, a lot of stuff happened.
Yeah, I mean, we went from one break to the next.
No, I know. It was a lot of, yeah, oh my god. And basically, enough changed between now and then that, like, all of our topic ideas are ruined, basically.
We just gotta start from scratch.
Exactly. There's a new president. Alex Trebek is dead. Yeah. No, that was sad. Yeah. Because, but he actually lived a long time. Like, you know how deadly pancreatic cancer is?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
He's going through some tough times. And he still managed to host that show.
No, yeah. I'm very impressed. Like, because the prognosis on stage 4 pancreatic cancer is ridiculously, like, it's basically a miracle. He lived 2 years.
I was actually watching it the other day, and I noticed that they gave him a chair and a table now, as opposed to like before when we were watching it. He was just standing through the whole show.
Wow. Well, shit. Well, Alex, we're gonna miss you as a great Canadian and a great host. I don't know what they're gonna do after this.
They're probably gonna hire some person of color.
Well, you can say that. I
it wouldn't surprise me.
The Kamala Harris of Jeopardy.
Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, we talked about the first podcast how the CEO, editor-in-chief Bon Appetit got fired, and then now their show has all these people of color on.
But wasn't the issue with Bon Appetit that
and unfair wages?
Yeah, wasn't the issue like that? All the white guys got to do whatever they want, but everyone who wasn't white is like, no, you do the ethnic dishes and get paid less.
That
or something
too.
Like that.
Yeah.
So they had to overcompensate.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. It was so that's probably reasonable. It feels a little insincere.
But now that YouTube gets a lot of shit because they have a lot of people of color who are like really excited to be on their YouTube show, but everyone's like ripping on them. It's like, oh, you're just hiring them to this.
Yeah. There's what do you call that? There's the glass ceiling, but there's another concept called the glass cliff, where like I've never experienced this obviously, but like the idea is that you throw someone a bone on the anticipation they will fail, and then you can say like, oh look, no one watches women-led action movies. So like you'd throw them a bone with like a women-led Ghostbusters, and then it fails, and then you say, oh, see, we can't do women-led action movies. Ghostbusters did pretty well. So
just setting them up to fail.
Exactly. Yeah, basically just setting them up to fail. It's like it's like a different form of like the glass ceiling. Like you just, instead of like never letting people into those roles, they
put them in a situation where it just messes up.
Yeah, like where you're destined to fail, and then they can like
use that as reference.
Exactly. So yeah, that's like that. I don't know too much about Bon Appetit, but is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then a lot of the individuals who were on the show are on new YouTube channels.
Oh, okay, yeah. Which, fair enough. Like, if they were screwing you that much, I assume you wouldn't want to
work with them.
You wouldn't want. Yeah. But, so we were going to talk about YouTube kind of being taken over by celebrities.
Yeah. So, like, because of COVID and cancel culture, everyone's kind of struggling to find a job or finding some...
I think it's just Louis C.K. struggling to find
some
a job
form of audience.
Of cancel culture.
Yeah. And they went to YouTube or the Twitch, whereas, like, you've got, like, Zac Efron or Cam Newton, and now Brie Larson all have YouTube channels.
Amy Schumer.
Yeah. Some people have, like, Netflix deals and Twitch deals. Logic is now on Twitch.
Oh, of course Logic is now on
He signed a deal with them.
Zoomers.
So, I mean, it would just suck if it's just consumed by all celebrities on YouTube and Twitch and no one wants to see the regular guys.
Yeah, because YouTube was pretty fantastic just because, like, in the past you had all these, random nobodies being able to make a name for themselves and just becoming the dominant force on YouTube. Like, the first YouTube celebrities weren't, like...
known.
Yeah, it wasn't like Brad Pitt or who else was famous in like 2004? Malcolm in the Middle. Frankie Muniz. Right. Frankie Muniz, yeah. It's not like Frankie Muniz and Brad Pitt were like the first YouTubers. It was nobodies, and those nobodies got to be really famous, and it just wasn't dominated by celebrities in the same way like Twitter is completely dominated by
and that's why you check out
celebrities.
YouTube, because of like it's just a regular nobody just spewing a topic.
And it created this whole culture that was kind of separate from regular celebrity culture. Like it was this whole new ecosystem of talent. But, you know, if celebrities kind of come in and muscle in, it might kind of ruin this kind of Wild Westness there is in the YouTube. Which maybe that's already over. It's been over for, 10 years or however long it's been since Google bought it. But it could. Like that could be done.
Yeah, and I think the YouTube algorithm, though, like favors channels with high subscribers. So, like, those channels will do a lot better than some unknown individuals who don't have an audience.
That's true. So it's, by its nature, it's going to be hard for
you to find,
to kind of break their way through, which I get it. It makes sense. And you were talking about this new movie, what is it?
Social
Dilemma? Yeah, that were, people get caught in a feedback loop with the
information you're given.
Exactly. So what was it you were saying?
You get information based on your location and based on kind of like political views. So like you might search one topic and I'll get something, you get something completely different. And you'll just believe that one side and get one side of the story.
So, and you were saying that like, if we had like comparable interests, if we lived in like different states in the US, we'd get different stuff.
Right, like the movie said, like, if me and you both had the same social group or, like, amount of friends, and you look on your feed, you'd get something completely different from mine.
Yeah. See, so I'm not totally convinced at Facebook's algorithm's efficacy, because on the one hand, Facebook thinks I'm both a devout Jew and a devout Muslim, neither of which is really true. You know, sending me ads for apps that tell me, you know, which way Mecca is, or, you know, when I can stop fasting on Ramadan, that sort of thing. But so that they're way off. But on the other hand, they've been spooky accurate. I really hate it. I love using this example. I started dating a Chinese woman, and immediately after, like the day after we started kind of dating officially, I started getting these ads for this Mandarin immersion private school. And if that wasn't spooky enough, if you go on to the Facebook page or the social media of this school, all of the children are half white and half Asian. All of them. So, you know, it was just too specific and too personal.
They did a good job finding you.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like, sometimes they're like scary accurate, and sometimes they're just way off base. So that could just be random luck. But
I don't think so.
No, probably not. But like, they definitely do get it wrong. Like, the algorithm definitely gets it wrong sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not 100% accurate, but like the marketplace is pretty crazy with what they suggest and like groups.
Yeah. So yeah, it's I won't be scared until I stop getting Ramadan ads.
Also, Facebook has like a dating feature now where like you can search for matches.
Didn't Facebook already one of the major
maybe, but like
apps?
I know now like you can it's like you can use Facebook as like a Tinder or like a Bumble type app. Yeah,
I didn't try Facebook dating, but I've heard it's surprisingly not actually that good. Like, you know, just if they know everything about you, you'd think they'd be able to get you.
Know who you match with?
Yeah, but apparently not. But you know, I've heard that from women, and women never have a good time on dating apps.
I have no idea how that scene works.
Yeah, it's just because it's all just like, hey, dick pic, hey.
Is that your way of doing it?
Well, not me. No. I'm fantastic.
That's your 100% success rate?
Yeah, my 100% success rate is I talk about how my great grandfather was a cult leader. So that
leads them in?
Yeah, exactly. Well, because everyone loves serial killers and
wants to date them.
Yeah, serial killers or cult leaders. Now, serial killers like can be coming on a little strong. So you have to wait until you can talk about serial killers in your dating life. You can't just like come out of the gates. But cults are a little less creepy for some reason.
They're more welcoming.
Exactly, more welcoming. Yeah, cults are sexy. Like, how true do you think it is? Social media puts us in a political bubble. How much do you think there is to the idea that political polarization is largely caused by?
I mean, there's a huge influence with social media. Everybody uses it or has some kind of profile associated with them. So, I mean, it can help kind of tip the scale one way or the other.
Yeah. But do you think, it's really, like, solidifying people's opinions, or would they have already had those opinions anyway?
I guess it depends where you get your news from. If it's just all social media, then yes, it's the only kind of source where you're getting all your information, which a lot of these younger kids are getting a lot of their news from. No one watches TV. But then you or reads newspapers.
Yeah, that's true. But then you take into account the fact that, like, you know, Trump's base anyway isn't usually young people. It's mostly older people. And
also people who use social media.
And I will acknowledge that. But I don't think I'm incorrect in assuming that, like, older people are more likely to get their news from TV. So, you know, the stereotype being that, you know, the Trump supporter is kind of stuck in the Fox News bubble instead of a social media bubble. But this is my point, that, like, you could probably put yourself in a bubble without the aid of social media. So maybe it's making it worse, but I don't know if it's making it completely worse. Like, it's not the sole cause.
It may not be the sole cause, but it also depends on where you get all your news from, and are they from different sources?
Yeah, that's true. It could be be economic, for all I know. Like, you know, tough economic times throw people into political extremism.
Also, that movie mentioned in some places in, like, Malaysia or, like, some countries, they have Facebook already installed onto your phone. So whenever you get a phone, you have Facebook, and it's the only free app that you have, whereas you have to pay for, like, Twitter or...
Oh, weird.
And
wonder how much Facebook paid for that.
So that influences them greatly on what news they get, and then Facebook is their only news source.
Okay. Ugh. Oh, God. Okay, yeah, point taken. Because, I mean, getting your news from TV is one thing, but if your only news source is racist memes, like, that could lead to problems. I have heard of, like, you know, Facebook receiving criticism for not cracking down on, like, I don't know, like, anti-Muslim conspiracy theories in India, and in that sense kind of contributing to sectarian violence there.
Right.
I don't know if that's, like, certainly they bear some amount of responsibility for that, but I wonder if that's just, like, you know how art is a reflection of society, maybe not as much causes society to be the way it is. Therefore, you know, it's not necessarily Facebook's fault that sectarian tensions in India are exploding. That could just be the way India is headed, and Facebook is just a symptom of that.
Right.
Yeah. Like, it's, you know, newspapers didn't cause the Nazis kind of thing. But, yeah, who knows? But, speaking of art, and going back to the topic of kind of YouTube and Twitch streaming and celebrities taking over because of COVID, another issue that's been plaguing YouTubers recently, and I know a lot of major YouTubers are kind of trying to push their followers off of YouTube just because of the way demonetization is negatively affecting their income, especially for controversial topics, things like if you want to talk about the law or politics or anything like that.
Politics and religion are usually like a no-no.
Exactly. Like, you don't want to get demonetized, so a bunch of YouTubers got together and made Nebula try and move their followers to a different platform.
Yep.
And then, and part of that is DMCA copyright strikes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people use Twitch in the beginning, because there was no DMCA.
Really?
It wasn't as strict as YouTube was, whereas you can get away with playing certain types of music.
Maybe the problem isn't even like the nature of the website. Maybe it's just once they go mainstream, suddenly they have to play by the rules.
Well, they realize how much
regulators are
money
paying
is
attention.
involved now. So like,
Yeah.
it's like, why are we giving this away for free? Why don't we just monetize it? And these are all these $1 million, $1 billion record labels.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking like maybe YouTube wasn't even better before. It was just that no one was paying attention, and maybe that's why Twitch was better. Like no one was paying attention yet, and now
no one was paying attention to
Yeah.
the regular people. Now they are.
Yeah, so the secret is that there might be something.
Don't get big.
Exactly, don't get big. So there might actually be something to the whole hipster idea that like, oh shit, now it's mainstream. Now it's not cool anymore.
But then that opens the door to like another platform that allows that to happen.
Until they get too big.
And then make another company.
Exactly. So maybe the hipsters were right the whole time. Becoming mainstream is the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
But I was reminded of a quote by Kojima about it. So this is with regards to music and video games. So you were saying that video game demo videos will mute their audio to avoid DMCA strikes.
Yeah, like a game through, they'll mute certain aspects of the audio because they're made by like a certain artist that they don't have the copyright for.
Yeah. So let's say you're playing GTA 5 and
Michael Jackson plays.
Exactly. Yeah. So lots of old Twitch streamers will get rid of all their videos with audio that contain music
For the fear of being banned.
Yeah, because like the way the DMCA copyright strikes work is like they remove the liability of the websites for copyright content on their websites,
So they don't get sued.
Yeah, so they don't get sued, which is a good thing. But then they have to get rid of that content once they are aware of its existence.
And enforce on all the other channels that are doing it as well.
Yeah, and they don't, and YouTube doesn't really care if you have fair use or not.
No, because like instead of like getting sued millions because of one account, they'll just like, let me just get rid of the account and then we're safe on our end.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I'm sure they also don't want to put any labor into like reviewing, like having lawyers or law clerks review whether or not it constitutes fair use.
Right. It's just easier to get rid of the small channel than for them to get sued.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's frustrating. And there's no like, as far as I know, there's not an easy solution to that. And then there's also like guys who just like their whole job is to create copyright infringing.
Right. And because of this, T-Pain on Twitch, he's on Twitch and he gives away a lot of his free beats that you can use when you're on Twitch.
Nice, good for T-Pain.
Yeah, he's a gamer at heart.
Oh, okay, that's good. So you know how rappers have they all kind of have hilarious real names. Like they all sound really really famous. Like Biggie's real name is like Christopher Wallace.
Yep.
And Snoop Dogg's real name is Calvin. I think T-Pain. What's T-Pain's real name?
I have no idea.
It's like I think it's Yusuf something.
I mean, they all have stage names, which makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. But like, it's always funny when like Snoop Dogg's real name is Calvin.
It's the same thing with actors too.
Oh yeah, that's true. Because
Vin Diesel.
Yeah, that's definitely not a real name. I don't know what his real name.
Neither do I.
Like not a fucking clue. But
and a lot of celebrities changing their last names because of like family resemblance.
Yeah, that's what Nick Cage did.
And what's her name? Angelina Jolie.
Oh right, because she's John Voight's daughter.
Yep.
Yeah, so she didn't want to be like Angelina Voight.
Plus, he had a huge following before, so like she didn't want to like get overshadowed.
Yeah. See, so Nick Cage did the same thing. So Nick Cage's real name is like Nicholas Coppola, as in Francis Ford Coppola, the guy who made Apocalypse Now, because that's his uncle, I believe. And so he said he changed his name because he didn't want people to think he got his job from nepotism, which I mean, he probably did.
It wouldn't help, but it wouldn't hurt. I mean.
Well, to be fair, Sofia Coppola, his daughter, I mean...
She banked on the last name.
Yeah, she banked on the last name. It didn't work out super well for her. It worked much better for Nicolas Cage.
I mean, it worked well for her, too. I mean, she's directing movies, so...
That's true. She's not acting, though. You know who's not directing movies? Francis Ford Coppola.
He's up there in age.
But that's the thing. I thought he was dead, but he's not. Sorry, Francis. I'm very sorry.
Mandela effect.
Yeah, it's a Mandela effect. No, it's not even that. Like, I assumed he died, like, before I was aware of his existence. Like, I assumed he died in the 90s or something like that. But that's just because he hasn't really made any notable movies, at least since the 90s. Whereas Scorsese's kind of kept up with it, because that cocaine will not pay for itself.
Francis is living off those riches.
Yeah, maybe.
He's enjoying that COVID life.
Yes. Francis, I hope you're enjoying that COVID life. But make a new movie. I also want Mel Brooks to make a new movie. He's like, goddamn Mel, you're in your 90s. Make me a new movie before you go.
Right. I mean, it's just hard to do it right now in these
No, I'm sure. Well, I'm sure it's also hard to make your 90s. I'm just saying, Roman Polanski makes new movies. And, he's on the run. And he's old.
Not all of them are good, though.
No, yeah, that's true. It's did you hear about his newest movie?
No.
Okay, so do you know about the Dreyfus Affair?
No, what's that?
Okay, so the Dreyfus Affair was like this event in like turn-of-the-century French history where this French military officer who was Jewish was scapegoated for an espionage incident in the French army.
All right.
And so he was scapegoated and sentenced to life in prison for treason and sent to the prison colony in French Guiana, Devil's Island. And it came out that the French military like forged evidence against him. And this was kind of a proxy for a political battle between like secular France and old conservative Catholic France, who like kind of took up the fight against him because he was Jewish.
Okay.
And it's where, Jacques Hughes comes from. Like that's where that comes from. But so anyway, essentially the long and short of it is Dreyfus is a man falsely accused and, and then sent into exile.
Surprise.
And so for Roman Polanski to make that as a movie, it's just kind of like, oh man, that's just to like see yourself as the victim in that is just kind of like, oof. Like just that, because he's in exile, quote unquote, in France because of his charges in the...
It hits home.
Yeah, exactly. So
too close to home.
But the whole point of Dreyfus is he wants to go back to France, and Roman Polanski is stuck in France. Like, it's just, you know what I can't stand about it? He's completely ungrateful that he basically got away
right
with his crimes. Like, if he's like, oh, the world's unfair, but in my favor, and I'm happy that it is. I can kind of understand that. But, like, to be ungrateful that the world is unfair in your favor, fuck you. Like, no, fuck you. Yeah, but, so, that was a complete tangent. But, so, music and video games. Hideo Kojima, was once asked if video games are art. And he says, they're not necessarily art, they're more like a gallery. In the sense that it's multiple art pieces in
one piece
in a display, yeah.
Right.
Because you have elements of all other art. You have acting, you have visual arts, you have like sculpting, you have storytelling, you have music.
Right.
So it's kind of all arts in once. It's essentially like a big old performance piece.
So everything together is what you get.
Exactly. Yeah. Which I guess that's not too different from a movie, which a movie is considered has like, an animated movie has elements of drawing, acting, storytelling.
Everything. Yep.
Music, but it's kind of unquestionably art.
I mean, and the best video games are movie-esque, whereas like it's a whole storyline, it's interactive, and like you kind of feel for the characters and what's going on.
Yeah, that's true. I know some video game players are less into the cinematic elements of games because they would think like, in that case, I might as well watch a movie, and are kind of more into like fantastical like platformers, kind of like I don't know, like Banjo-Kazooie or something.
Right.
which, because like that, like Banjo-Kazooie is unique to a game.
More fictional universe.
Exactly. Whereas like Banjo-Kazooie can only be a game, whereas like Death Stranding could just be a movie.
Right.
I would think.
Really messed up movie.
Yeah. That would be a crazy fucking movie. That could be a cult movie.
The video game is definitely interesting.
Yeah. No, it was
also hard to explain in one sitting.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
And I guess that's what makes video games interesting, is that they last, 20, 30, 50 hours of storyline, whereas like a movie just ends in 2 hours.
Oh yeah, that's true. So it takes up more of your life.
Right, and there's more to uncover and kind of unlock. And it's ongoing as opposed to a start and finish.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas in a movie, kind of like things about the world are implied, whereas in a video game, you kind of like see the nitty gritty.
It's not static.
Yeah, exactly. So, but in that sense, relating this back to music and copyright strikes, it's just very weird to me that a record company would license their musical property to this video game, but not accept that in streaming.
It'll be played by someone else and listened to.
Let's just use Grand Theft Auto 5 as that. Like, Rockstar Games doesn't mind YouTubers making millions of dollars streaming their video game. It would seem ridiculous if they did. Like, I know they probably see that and they're jealous and they're like, I want a piece of that.
And they paid millions of dollars to get those IPs into their game.
Yeah, exactly. So I get. So it's interesting that Rockstar like doesn't go to Twitch streamers and be like, oh man, you gotta pay us like 5% of your revenue, otherwise you can't
play our game
on streaming. That's interesting. Like, just the fact that they don't do that, and in a sense, like, they kind of rely on them for advertising, basically. Like, maybe they just see it as advertising.
It is. I mean, they should promote it because they get free advertising from this streamer playing their video game.
Yeah, exactly. And so they see it as, they see people playing the video games on YouTube or Twitch as fair use. In copyright, just allowed to, use a piece of media to create something else, and that's just accepted. So it would be unthinkable if like one of the artists from Rockstar said like, you gotta blur out this guy's face because I drew it. That would be ridiculous. And so, but for record companies to come in and say like, this music is not part of the game, it is separate from the game. Therefore, you can play the game but not have the music as part of the content.
Or monetize off of it.
Yeah, it's very strange because, I would think of the video game as like a holistic entity. Like, everything that's part of the game is the game, including the music.
Right, and it does some way come full circle because you're streaming a game and then you have more eyes on the game and on the artist, which gives them monetization on their part too.
Yeah, and in that sense, I would. Well, so firstly, I don't get that. Like, they don't see it the way that we gave this video game right to the game, therefore they can do
whatever they want.
Exactly, yeah. But like the second part is that I don't understand is why they don't kind of take it and run and see it as a good thing. They don't see it as free marketing. Like because no one's just going to listen to the video game stream to listen to the song. Because it's
the whole experience. Yeah.
Like if you wanted to listen to I don't know what's a song like Hood Gon' Love It by J-Rock, you wouldn't play GTA 5 just to listen to it because there's all this other background shit.
And storyline going on, yeah.
Exactly. But, I just use that as an example because I first heard that song in GTA 5. And I liked the song. And I wouldn't have heard that song
without the video game.
Yeah, exactly. So, it seems like they're just needlessly being dicks and throwing away what is probably a good marketing option.
And then you might buy that album and then make record label money.
I did.
Yep.
That is a case where, like, the company directly made money off
the video game.
The video game being in. Well, to be fair, I did not like watch it on a Twitch stream. I didn't watch GTA 5 on a Twitch stream and then decided, like, I own the game.
Right.
It's weird. Fair use is such a yeah, it's very loose. So, like, what's your experience with fair use in advertising?
It's all up in the air. Like, sometimes it's regulated, sometimes it's not. People kind of take advantage of it. Sometimes it's blown way out of proportion, and other times it's used tastefully. So it all depends on the context. It depends on the audience.
Yeah, fair enough. There's did you hear about what is it? The Omegaverse?
No, what's that?
Okay, so Lindsay Ellis does a great video on this. I highly recommend it. Omegaverse is this universe of erotic fan fiction based on wolves.
All right.
So it's about wolves, like fan fiction about wolves having sex.
It's like Twilight.
Basically, yes. And there's like a bunch of actual, honest to God, real paper books, like based on this whole thing. But it's like, it's kind of, the interesting thing about it is that it's not invented by anyone in particular. It's like a universe created on fan fiction.
So like their own Reddit.
Exactly. So no one really owns the Omegaverse. So what ended up happening is one author who actually made it, and it went off the fan fiction site where they just type stuff out and people consume it for free.
Subreddit, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They actually wrote a book, but then they started suing people who wrote
the books
and wrote fan fiction about it afterwards, because they claimed their claim was really silly, because it was essentially they were claiming they were the first one to do heterosexual Omegaverse stuff.
They just didn't want anyone to share their money and like profit off of it.
Pretty much. I mean, they seemed pretty convinced that they had invented heterosexual wolf fan fiction, which is so vague it's silly, or vague yet specific. But yeah, no. So it brought up this really interesting question of like, who owns fan fiction? Fan fiction is like, kind of by its nature derivative of something. Yeah. It's interesting. So like, she essentially made money off
the people
something
who wrote
that belonged to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is fine, but like, she then kind of tried to burn the bridge behind her. Like, that's where the problem was.
Why? Because it was so successful that all these other people were making money off of what she's...
No, so that's the thing. She's not even the first person to make like books out of this concept. Like, there's a lot of like trashy erotic fiction novels about it. She has no case in the sense that she was the first one to do it, because very verifiably wasn't.
Right.
But really where I'm going with this is, the hilarious part is like, now this is actually possibly going to set a huge precedent, like legal precedent in terms of copyright. And it means like U.S. federal judges have to talk about wolf erotic fan fiction.
They gotta earn that paycheck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fair use is tricky, because like, I'm talking about a thing Lindsay Ellis did, and informing the listener on this, and that's, I would hope I'm not infringing upon her video, and I would hope people who are interested would go watch it.
Yeah.
But so like, in this sense, like, my commentary on it is fair use. Like, even though, you get some of the content from what she had in her own video, even though I'm using elements of that content, it constitutes fair use because I'm in comment.
Right. It's like those YouTube videos that do like reactions off a reaction.
Oh God, that's too meta.
No, but those channels do extremely well, because they don't actually do any of the heavy lifting. They'll just watch somebody's YouTube video and then they'll comment off that, or like they'll watch a music video and they'll be like, "Oh, this music video is amazing," but like, they're just commenting off this huge production music video and saying to their audience if they like it or not, and then they'll have like a 1 million subscriber reaction YouTube video. Channel.
I guess that's like kind of the nature of like film, movie, and book criticism.
Everyone's a critic?
No, just that, like, it's an old trick, just that you're, like, the economy around the artist creates further economies. So, there's the economy for the art itself, and then there's, like, all these secondary players, the critics, who kind of make further content about it.
The fish eats the smaller fish, and then the bigger fish eats that one.
Exactly. So, but it's good. Like, it's good to have critics fight over things, except John Wick.
You're just a John Wick hater.
Yeah. So in what year did John Wick come out? 2013. I'm gonna say 2013. I went with my buddy Rob, who was my roommate at the time. We saw that, this Keanu Reeves movie, it has 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. We should go see this movie. This sounds great.
Did he also not like it?
We both
hate it.
We both went to the movie and we were like, this movie fucking sucks. And no one else thought it sucked, and it was very disheartening because it felt like we were in a universe where we were the only sane people.
You guys aren't. The first one was great. Yeah,
I mean, well, by definition, if you're the only sane person, then you are no longer sane.
Right.
But no, it was not great, and fuck and
that's why they're still making them. But also, they make a lot of trash. So
yeah, exactly. There's how many Transformers movies are there? There must be at least 8 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, and none of those are good.
Probably still making Star Wars.
Yeah.
Spin-offs.
Yeah. Oh man, I cannot believe. Anytime you feel incompetent, just remember, like, Disney allowed Star Wars to be made by 2 different people with 2 different visions, and they allowed each other to shit can each other's stories.
They're also making millions off of it.
No, I know, but like that's,
billions off of it too.
I know, but like they allowed the directors to sabotage each other on a $1 billion franchise. That's insane.
If you're a shareholder, you're just laughing.
No, I know, but
you don't really give a fuck what they make, as long as they make more.
I know. I give a fuck because
you like those IPs, yeah.
Yeah, I love those IPs. I wanted them to make more Star Wars. I wanted them to make good Star Wars. Mostly, I just wanted them to make good Star Wars. But like, the problem is like, now you have a trilogy that is not like it's not that the acting is bad or the script's bad. It's just technically bad because it's so
fragmented.
Yeah, inconsistent. There's actual like errors in the storytelling that didn't need to be there.
It started out fragmented too when you start a series from episode 4 instead of episode 1.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, that was weird. Did George Lucas always plan on making the prequels?
I think so.
Why did he do it that way?
I forget. There's another series that was like that where they did the later episodes or series and then they went back.
Oh. Like, I'm glad he did it that way. Like, I'm glad it turned out the way. Well, I'm not glad about the prequels.
I mean, it just seemed weird because it's like older technology, and then you got like the newer technology, which is in the past.
Yeah, yeah. It's also weird seeing sci-fis where, like, in some ways their societies are way more advanced than ours, but in other ways they're more primitive because, like, they didn't envision the internet or like wearable technology. Crap like that.
It's also weird to explain it if you watch it all in sequence. It's like Yoda's a puppet in 4, 5, and 6, but he's 3D.
Not if you get the remastered version.
Engineered in like the other episodes.
Oh, he's also a puppet in 1.
Is he?
Yeah, I think he's a puppet in 1. Yeah. Oh, there's one thing I found out. So, like, it's basically a meme that the prequels are bad, right?
Most cases.
Yeah. And so people really, really hated The Phantom Menace because it's not really like the other Star Wars movies. It's not necessarily like an adventure. A lot of it is just kind of bad political intrigue.
Yeah,
it's a little dull. Like there's like blockades and Senate meetings.
I didn't mind that only because Darth Maul is my favorite villain.
Oh yeah, and Darth Maul is dope. Darth Maul is awesome. Like, you always need innovative lightsabers.
Yeah.
And that's, like, definitely one of the best lightsaber. Yeah, it's the best lightsaber fight.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I like the Mustafar. I think that's the best one. That one's like so overcore. Anyway, so one thing I didn't know about Attack of the Clones is that Attack of the Clones is a response to the fan menace. It's like, okay, you didn't like that one, so we're going to give you a bunch of fan service in this one. And because I was a kid, I kind of didn't see it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a movie of fan service. So
it's like when a ref calls a bad play and then rewards the other team with a penalty.
Basically, yeah. So it's, but you have, think about the things you have in Star Wars Episode 2. You have Jango Fett, which was basically Boba Fett, finally getting to fight Jedi. You get to finally see his ship have a fight.
Yep.
And you finally get to see Yoda have a lightsaber. And you get to see the Clone Wars. So, like, there's, like, 4 big acts of fan service. And that's how it ended up.
I mean, if you really like Star Wars, just watch the animated stuff. It's way better.
Yeah. Isn't that the case for everyone?
Not always. I mean, they're still ongoing and they're a lot better than the movies.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Play Jedi Fallen. This podcast is sponsored by Jedi Fallen.
Sponsored by EA. EA, yes. Hit us up.
EA, give us money.
No, just send us the free games ahead of in advance.
I'm kidding. I don't want your games, EA. CD Projekt Red, give money. Show me the money. Show me the money. Or the free game. Get
the word out there and
get
some sponsors.
Swag. I'm not even looking forward to sponsorship money. I just want swag. Sponsorship swag.
I mean, it's where the attention is, right? That's
exactly. See, I wonder if like I can, because I don't do consoles anymore. I'm just hoping I can just get all my
PC
swag
Master Race.
Yeah, exactly. PC. I'm not allowed to say that. Yes. Yeah. The but my computer obviously does not have a CD-ROM thingy.
Drive.
Yeah. So I just kind of need.
So you have to download all your games.
Yeah. I have a pretty big solid state drive, so it's fine.
And what? So you have to download all your software too. You can't because you don't have a drive, so you can't install anything. That sucks.
Wait, by drive do you mean drive as in like a CD-ROM reader, or drive as in like a disk drive?
Like a disk drive.
I have a disk drive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have a disk drive. I just there's nowhere to put like CD-ROMs in. Which, when was the last time you used a CD-ROM? What, 10 years ago? 20, probably like 15 years ago.
Yeah, maybe? Technology has boosted its way.
Exactly. So basically, physical games are useless to me. So the swag would basically have to come in the form of Steam gift cards.
I was actually talking to this about like the new consoles, how they offer like a diskless and like a digital version only, and the digital version's like $100 cheaper.
Yeah.
Does it make sense to go digital? What if like the system dies? Like, do you keep all your games to get saved somewhere? That's kind of one of the things that you would get if you actually bought the CDs.
Yeah. So there's kind of 2 sides to that. So I recently sold my Xbox One console secondhand. So,
times are tough.
Yeah, exactly. Well, really, I just need to pay for PC parts. But so there's kind of 2 sides to it. On the one hand, if you only have the physical disc, if you lose the disc, it's gone. You'd have to get it again.
True, but why would you lose it? Where are you taking this disc to?
It happens. Like, maybe you sat on it. Maybe you just like put something under your bed or something like that. But if it's like, if you have an account, you could theoretically just have it there forever. Whereas, but the thing is it. So basically, it's like think about Steam.
Or like cloud storage, yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't, like, as long as your Steam account exists, you'll never lose your games. The issue is that it completely gets rid of the secondary market for games.
Right.
So when I sold my Xbox and sold all my games, I got a return on the games I bought because I could sell them secondhand.
You can't sell them off digitally.
Exactly, yeah. It's just, you're stuck with it forever, basically.
And another drawback is if you had a game that was multiplayer or you can play with a friend, you can't actually play or give them that game, whereas you could if you actually bought the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't really move the game between consoles. And
you can't go to your buddy's place and play it.
Yeah, because you remember, like, you bring your copy of Smash Bros. to your buddy's house and you'd play it there.
Bring over GoldenEye to your buddy's place.
Exactly. So yeah, it's in that sense they kind of got rid of the social aspect of video games and moved it entirely on.
Right.
Which is
also, that's probably more taxing too on the hard drives because you have to download everything as opposed to the disc will have all the software on it to it, and then you just have to download kind of updates.
That's true. Though I think with the Xbox One, you still had to download off.
You have to download it off to play
onto the console. So that was annoying, but
yeah, you don't have to do that on PlayStation.
Yeah, okay. I think I could be wrong. Like maybe I just did it that way because it works better, but
because it doesn't have to read off the disc, it just reads off the system.
They just use the disc to basically verify that you own it. But yeah, so the problem with so that's not too much of an issue because storage is cheap enough anyway. But it changed the social aspect of video games in favor of
convenience.
Not convenience. I think it's because if you bring over GoldenEye to your buddy's house, then he doesn't also buy it necessarily. Like you just borrows your copy when you guys want to play. But also like if two people are playing it's more that they don't want two people playing on the same console. They want people
to buy their own.
Yeah, they want everyone to have one console and then you just play online. Because, instead of like there being one N64 between two people or four friends, each have a PlayStation 5. So you can play, I don't know, Fortnite or
whatever.
What's the
Call of Duty.
What's the
Cold War?
Cold War?
Yeah.
What's the one that's like their
Warzone.
Warzone, there we go, yeah. Their
Battle Royale.
Their Battle Royale, the clone of Fortnite. Yeah. So it's more. I think they found that was more effective at selling consoles, and therefore, that's where we're at now.
Yeah.
Do you remember Disney's experiment with limited use DVDs?
Limited use, like time refrained.
Yeah. So that basically the way it would work is because they figured like, oh, these kids watch fucking Finding Nemo 1 million times on VHS or DVD, and they only pay like $16 for the DVD once. But what if we like made DVDs so that they only got five watches or something, and they'd have to buy a new one?
Did anyone actually buy into that?
No, that never took off. Just I think part of it was because like digital downloads were coming out at the same time.
Right.
It kind of gets in this whole thing about like planned obsolescence. Because like, there's no real way to incentivize against planned obsolescence. Because like, it actually
goes away.
Yeah, like it actually just hurts your profitability to not have plans.
Right.
So that's not something I know how to fix, but it's an issue.
Look at Quibi. Quibi's gone.
Oh yeah, Quibi's gone. Quibi was always going to be gone. Though.
Yeah, but I mean, not in their eyes.
Well, yes. But
they didn't think they were going to disappear. True,
but no one thinks it's no one ever thinks their business ventures are bad. But there was really no way for them to make money off it.
Right.
I talked to my girlfriend who works in TV, and she was basically just saying it seemed like something that like one of the older members of Disney's board was like, oh, make us Vines. And, let's get some of that Vine money, and it just never really materialized. Well, Vines didn't make any money.
Their content creators did.
Yeah, that's fair. But
I don't know their business model, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But what did Vine become?
I think Vine's just gone. Vine's is just gone.
Because I know Musically became TikTok.
Oh, okay.
And TikTok's booming.
Yeah, TikTok.
But they also have a different business model with the record labels.
Well, and TikTok has Chinese government money, so
and they're associated with record labels.
Yeah. Okay. So that's how they make money?
Well, that's why they are able to play those copyrighted music and all those tunes for free.
Okay. Oh yeah. Actually, yeah. No, I never.
The record labels will pay TikTok to use their music.
Oh, because I never put together like why Twitch was getting picked on, but for some reason
TikTok can freely use popular tunes and music. and why they got away with it, because the record labels pay them to play the music and make them more popular.
That's actually a pretty good business. I mean, that and having Chinese government. Let me just see who... I just want to see who ByteDance is owned by.
And then also, the whole social dilemma is with TikTok. We were saying that Netflix used to have that option to go to the next episode, but now it's just a countdown. Whereas TikTok, as soon as you open TikTok, it forces you to see a video. You don't even get to choose. It's just automatic. So that's making your attention glued onto the platform.
That's fair. ByteDance is a privately held company. Ooh.
And then to go back with Quibi. Quibi actually got into esports.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that angle I didn't know.
One of I think the VP or one of the main executives got into bought this company called Immortals, or collabed with them, and they pitched in for 25 mil. So they got into esports now.
Nice. And esports, as we all know, is bigger than everything.
It will be.
It's bigger than real sports. Or, sorry, I shouldn't say real sports. Bigger than physical sports. Sorry, yeah. Sorry, I shouldn't say real sports.
As opposed to the fake sports. So
yeah, fake fucking
video games.
Video games. The fake sport. But what do you say? Is it esports that's bigger than music, or is it just video games?
It's not esports, it's video games.
Right, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So video games, it's 1.5 billion, and esports is maybe 1% of that.
Right.
Or less than 1%.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's video games is the publishing, the manufacturing, all the IPs and copyrights, whereas esports is just the small competitive aspect of
right. Okay,
video
that makes
games.
sense. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. But I can totally believe that. The last time I was out of the country before COVID hit, my buddy and I, we drove to Detroit at White Castle.
You got pulled over.
No, we didn't get pulled over. So we had because he lived in the U.S. for a couple of years because he was going to school there.
Yep.
And he was like, "Man, I miss White Castle." And one day I said, "Let's drive to Buffalo and get White Castle."
Didn't you say it wasn't great? It wasn't worth traveling to?
No. I've had White Castle before, and it's tasty, but I felt very sick of it.
Not worth 4 hours of driving.
Yeah. Well,
and back.
No. The trip was definitely worth it. It was just I did poison myself. So yeah, I thought we'll drive to Buffalo, we'll cross the border and go to White Castle there, and it'll take 2 hours to get there. And it's a long time, but I've done spontaneous drives to Niagara Falls, and that's fine. So we were going to do that. Turns out there's no White Castle in Buffalo. So we decided, okay, we're going to drive to Detroit, which is the nearest
just for White Castle.
Just to get
Should have got Cal Penn and what's that other guy's name? To join you. Choi or Cho?
John Cho, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, John Cho. I should have. Yeah. See, so I'm John Cho.
And your buddy's Cal Penn?
Because I'm the accountant, and he's Cal Penn because he's a grad student.
Right. He's slightly darker than you.
No, he's actually whiter than me. No, he's actually whiter than me. He's an honest to God wasp, and I'm not quite. A little bit.
Not as waspy.
Not as waspy. Yeah. So that we were like if they made Harold and Kumar 10 years earlier. And
the white version of
it. Yeah. Yeah, the whitewashed version of it. But
it was pretty whitewashed, anyways. The movie.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I guess because they're the only Asian characters.
Who acted white and not Asian at all.
You found?
Never. They didn't act according to any of their kind of typical stereotypes.
Yeah, they just smoked weed. But that's the thing. Everyone smoked. It's universal. Everyone smoked.
Did they make a sequel to that?
They did. When they escaped from Guantanamo Bay.
I don't remember. I don't remember that.
Yeah, it got a little more ridiculous, but...
They probably tried to make it a franchise, American Pie.
It worked a bit. They got 2 movies out of that, but that was about it. But, what was I thinking? Because of the movie, when we got to the border, we tried not to say we drove there for White Castle, but they... dragged it out of us.
You guys got stopped at...
Yeah. They were step out of the
border.
Yeah. So we got stopped at the U.S. border because we said we drove to Detroit for White Castle.
Which was true.
which was true. And so they searched our car, and they made us leave our phones behind.
Yeah, they do that.
What are they checking? Are they checking, like, if there's drugs behind the phone?
Or to just, you're not contacting, like, your dealer or someone to be like, yeah, we got stopped up at the border.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Okay, so they're just making sure you're not
relaying that message that, like,
right,
you guys got booked.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. And then, so we were sitting at the border crossing for like 20 minutes, like while they searched our car. And then they realized, like, oh, these guys actually did just drive here to go to White Castle.
Dumbasses are real.
Yeah. So, like, they thought it, like, so then we got in the car and they're like, all right, you're free to go. Enjoy the White Castle. They thought it was very funny. And, the reason I mentioned that is, in Detroit that weekend, there was a Smash competition.
Smash Bros?
Yeah. Like a Smash Bros competition. And like a big one. And, like the White Castle we went to had people who were there for that.
Wow.
Like, and they were the only people in the restaurant. And my buddy and I, we ate White Castle in a parking lot and talked to some people out there for Smash Bros.
Living the dream.
Living the fucking dream. That was my last adventure before COVID.
Nice.
Yeah.
Got White Castle and played Smash.
Exactly. Well, we didn't play Smash. We
got smashed.
Yeah, we got White Castle. Yeah. What was your last trip before COVID?
I also went to Detroit.
Wait, really?
In February before.
I went in February.
Yeah.
What?
But I also was visiting family in Windsor, so we just went to Detroit to check it out. And
yeah, why did we have the urge to go to Detroit in February?
Well, I went to Windsor, and then I was like, we just go across because it's just right here. And
yeah,
it was a dead ghost town in Detroit at the time in February before the lockdown in March.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was a ghost town. I think Detroit's just like that normally. It wasn't the lockdown.
No one was walking on the streets and there was barely any traffic.
I mean, but I think that's Detroit normally.
I don't know.
Like, Detroit's like half abandoned.
But we were downtown as well. Like, no one was walking.
No, but no one goes. I think that's the thing. No one goes downtown.
Maybe
downtown's
I'm
dangerous.
not from Detroit, but
or not downtown's dangerous, but like Detroit itself is dangerous, and then like everyone just lives in like the suburbs. Like I don't know any Detroit suburbs.
Yeah, right.
Dearborn.
I don't know, but yeah, that was my last trip before this lockdown.
Yeah, Detroit is nice, though. I wish I
in small doses.
Yeah, in small. I wouldn't go there more than a week.
I mean, you have to have a plan of what you want to do. It's not just like we're just going here for fun and we don't know what we're doing.
That's what we did.
I don't know. There wasn't really any sites or things.
There's some cool architecture.
There's a lot of artwork there that we saw, but aside from that, like
there's the Bell Island Aquarium.
Right.
Yeah. You see the Bell Island Aquarium?
I did not.
Oh yeah. So we went to the aquarium, which is I think the oldest aquarium in America. Which I thought like, oh, that sounds interesting, but like, no, old timey aquariums kind of suck. Because I was hoping like we'd get like some like real old timey aquarium stuff, like they just like strap a tutu on a chimp and throw him in the tank and say, "Behold, the majestic mermaid."
Right.
But they're like here's a sea serpent, but it's just a garter snake kind of thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of stores that were like closed because they didn't know what was COVID or what to do because this was February, right before the lockdown.
How far into February? Because I think that's
maybe mid-February.
Okay, because that was kind of early February. They weren't really doing lockdown.
Yeah, there wasn't any lockdown, but they didn't know how serious COVID was. So
yeah,
but like no one would go into stores. It was just dead everywhere.
Yeah, I think there was like hand sanitizer at the Shake Shack. That was about it.
The place we went to, they were just like paper menus.
Weird. Yeah, no. So we didn't have that yet. So I think I might have gone like a week or two before you, like before anything.
Yeah, and usually like my brother used to go to Detroit like every now and then, and they would have like a public food market that you can go visit in the morning, and they didn't really have that when we went, so like everyone was kind of like scared or like not knowing what this pandemic was going to be.
Oh, all right, cool. Thanks everyone for tuning in. You can find us on all your favorite podcast platforms. Spotify, iTunes, everything.
YouTube.
And don't forget to follow us on social media at podcast_above on Twitter and the Above Average Podcast everywhere else. Thank you very much for listening.
See you guys.
See you.